In this video, we are going to perform starting of capacitor start induction motor, reversing the direction of running direction of capacitor start induction motor, and different components of the capacitor start induction motor. So before going to perform, let's some discuss theoretical background. After that, we will perform. The capacitor start induction motor has two winding, main winding and auxiliary winding. In auxiliary winding, capacitor is connected with the help of centrifugal switch. Let's discuss. It is a capacitor start induction motor is a single phase induction motor with capacitor is connected in series with the starting winding or auxiliary winding and with the help of centrifugal switch as shown in figure. This configuration gives the most this configuration gives the motor fast starting power, but the application does not require a lot of power during the running time. The motor will generally not rotate unless an outside force spins the shaft. Once it started, it will continue to operate fine until power is removed from the motor. So there is some photos of this capacitor start induction motor, running winding, centrifugal switch, starting winding. Okay, uh, as we as we apply this single phase supply, then motor start, and when motor reaches to the 70 to 80% or 60 to 80% speed, the centrifugal switch get operated and motor the auxiliary winding, that is the running winding, is disconnected from the supply. So the starting winding and the capacitor are not longer in use once the centrifugal switch opens as seen in figure. Therefore, the capacitor is only used for starting or for getting high starting torque at the starting. So this motor is called as capacitor start induction motor. By changing, by altering the single phase supply terminals, we can change direction of rotation of capacitor start induction motor easily. Now let's perform the operation, or let's perform the operation starting of capacitor induction motor and its speed reversal. In this video, we are going to perform uh, operation on single phase induction motor. We know that induction motor is a not self-starting motor. For starting purpose, we have to make different arrangement. Okay, so for starting induction motor, we have to use auxiliary winding. In that, we have to connect inductor, capacitor as per the requirement. Okay, so today we are going to perform operation of single phase induction run capacitor start induction motor. In that, first we are going to identify different terminals or different windings which are connected to the motor and its resistance, and then by making connection we are going to perform operation of this induction run capacitor start single phase induction motor. So initially we are going to measure resistance of the winding. So firstly we measure the, here we bring three terminals of winding, main winding, then inductor coil and then capacitor. So by measuring the resistance we can easily identify the winding terminals. So when I connect the initial terminal, it will show the resistance of 0.3 ohm. It is nothing but the main winding of the induction motor. Then when we connect multimeter to middle terminals, that time it shows the reading of 0.5 ohm, which will shows the inductive coil resistance. And third one is the capacitor terminals are bring here, and it will show the resistance in the range of 7 ohm. It will show the resistance in the range of 7 now. Okay, so this is the way to identify the different terminals of the motor or different windings of motor. Initially is the main winding, which has a very less resistance, near about 0.3 ohm. Second one is a inductance coil, its resistance near about 0.5, and third one is a capacitor connection or capacitor terminal, which are showing the resistance in the range of 5 to 6 ohm. So for starting purpose, we have to connect main winding, we have to connect inductor and capacitor across inductor coil in series with the main winding, and by connecting capacitor parallel to it, we can start induction motor. Okay. So whenever we start induction motor without capacitor, that time it will draw current near about 7 ampere, and when we start induction motor with inductor and capacitor, that time it will draw only 2.5 ampere current. Let's perform the experiment. Initially we have to the single phase supply is here. In that we have first connect ammeter in series, then the second terminal of ammeter is going to the main winding terminal, then main winding connected in series with the inductive coil, which is here. Then this second terminal of inductive coil is again connected to the main winding another terminal, and that main winding is energized with the single phase supply. Okay, and then we are going to connect capacitor, a voltmeter in parallel with the supply. Okay, and when, let's observe first, when induction motor start with only inductor coil, that time it will draw the current very high, which is in the range of 5 to 6 ampere. Let's first observe it. Then we are going to connect capacitor parallel to the main winding. Then it will draw minimum current at the starting. Please observe the ampere and voltmeter rating on this panel. At the application of 240 volt, this motor will draw the 5.54 ampere current initially, when capacitor is not connected, only inductor is connected in series with the main coil. But when we connect capacitor parallel to the main winding, at that time the motor will draw less amount of current, which is in the range of 2.5 ampere. Okay, so to limit starting current or to start motor smoothly initially, we have to connect capacitor parallel across the circuit. Now observe, we connect capacitor across the main winding. At that time the starting current is only 2.43 ampere. Okay, so now motor gets started. Okay, so this is the effect of capacitor on the starting of induction motor. So for changing the rotation of induction motor, we have to alter only both terminals of supply voltage, then automatically your direction of rotation of single phase motor get changed. When motor runs at a normal speed, then we should remove the capacitor from the circuit. Okay, then observe the effect on the circuit. Instantly it will draw the heavy current. Okay, so smooth starting of induction run capacitor motor, we have to connect capacitor parallel across the coil.